Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about app governance policies, right? So what are those? What those policies can do for us in organization for all those applications which are registered applications as well as the applications which are a part of application gallery from where we would simply find those applications and add those applications into the Entra, right? And then there would be additional configurations, including SSO, the scheme integrations, and application access levels on a group basis, along with other configurations would be we would be able to set up the conditional access policies, right? We would be able to do the access reviews and all of that stuff. Even that is also part of identity governance, but still that is available in those applications, right? But now you might be wondering what this application governance policy is going to do, right? So the policy which I'm going to show you by creating how we can create those policies and what those policies are really going to do is has a lot many conditions and filters where we would be able to identify those apps and put some conditions over there to either we want to revoke the highly privileged permissions on it, or we simply want to disable those applications because those applications might be bringing vulnerability to the tenant and systems altogether, and which might be the open door for bad actors, right? And not only this one, but there are so many other reasons to do it because if the applications is vulnerable, and that means it is going to bring something which is really not expected. And any organization who does all of this governance and capabilities, they should have all of these policies set up, and they can go ahead and keep watching, and not only watching, but also to take the appropriate actions on each of those applications, right? And to take actions, they should have right set of policies, right? It is not something they can just simply go to Entra portal and then look at the applications, what application they need, what application they don't need, whether that application has highly privileged permissions or it's overprivileged permissions, and what it is, right? Based on that, it's going to be difficult for them to identify and take actions, right? And that is when this policy comes in, right? So let's jump onto the policy page and I'll simply show you how we can go ahead and create it, right? So let me share my screen quickly and we'll go ahead and do that. All right, so you can see that. Let me share my screen. Perfect. So you can see I have already logged into different portals, but if I have to go from the beginning or from the home page, I would simply go to the home page. So this is the home page, and scroll down under the cloud apps over here, you would see app governance, right? And on the app governance page, you would see a bunch of other options. So let's give it a second to load, right? So once you see, so this is the home page under the app governance, and there is an option called policies, right? And on the page, you can see there are more than 100 apps found, right? And there are 39 overprivileged apps and 68 highly privileged applications, right? But now we wanted to go ahead and govern those applications, manage those applications by using policies, right? So let's click on this policies tab over here, and you will see there are two options over here which says regulate app usage and secure app permissions, right? So there are different permissions or different policies that we can create from this page over here across Microsoft 365, right? And these policies would be used for the governing applications and their permissions, right? And there are other policies as well where we would be able to go ahead and create basis on the different categories, different levels, or different severity levels, basically, right? And we would be able to see what actions should happen when that application is being used, right? For example, you can see there are a bunch of policies created already here. The first one says malicious OAuth app consent, right? So what that does means, it means that if any OAuth application was granted to such applications, which is malicious. Now, how that is being identified and defined, whether it is really a malicious application or not, right? So once you click on this policy, you would identify and see how it is identifying and making sure that application is malicious, right? So you can see that it has a severity set to high, policy name is given something like this, and the category was selected as a threat detection over here. And under this one, you can revoke the Office OAuth application. So you can do that and put that message and update this policy back, right? So this way you can revoke that one. Now you can see that there is an option for us to set alerts, so as default settings or restore the default setting, whichever was already configured. If not, then we can send the customized alerts over here as well, right? So something like by entering the email addresses of those people who are working on all of these activities. Majorly it would be a security folks, security team, security administrator, right? And all those people would have access and they would work on this, right? So it's going to be simple and app anomaly detection policy. And we can just go ahead and see and take the appropriate actions on it, right? So this is just one of the example, but definitely there are many filters, many policies that we can create and make use of these different policies, right? So let's jump back to the Microsoft 365 one, right? And from here, I would show you both of these regulate app usage policy first, and then secure app permissions, right? So I'll just create this policy. So create policy, and there are different categories. So whichever category you wanted to select, you would be able to see that or use that, right? And you can select it and use it. If you don't want to select and use any of these, you can simply select the custom one and you should be good. So for now, I would select usage, and you can see that new app with a high data usage template, right? And then should be next. So you can give it a name, something like regulate app 1. You can give it a description and you can put the severity as well. Click next. And here is the option, set policy scope and conditions, which is saying apply default setting. You can set to yes or no. And based on that, it is going to add the next steps where you have to select conditions and scopes to the policy, right? So let's click next. If you set to no, that means it's going to add another layer or another options for us to add that respective applications, whether you wanted to set a scope for all the applications, specific app, or all the applications except one or two applications that you wanted to exclude from this policy, right? So for now, I'm going to set it to for all, right? And then click next. And now you can see that there are some of the scope and conditions were already added, right? We can hit that edit button and we can make the changes, right? So let's say app registration age is last 7 days. So we can select it from last 7 days till a year, right? So from today's date till last 7 days, right? So from today's date till last 1 year, right? So that way it is going to be adding or making sure it is going to notify the respective team. And then you can see there are add conditions. So these are the bunch of conditions wherever or whichever you wanted to go ahead and see. Let's say data usage trend. And we can see there's a bit of description which says app puts data reads and writes using graph and O365 Exchange Online APIs have increased by a specified percentage compared to previous days. So you can set that percentage, maybe let's give it a 10% and let's keep it as is, right? And save it. So those conditions would be added over here upon selecting no, and we can move to the next one. So over here, we have options to either set policy actions, enable or disable. So for now, I'm going to keep it disabled, right? Which is prevent the app from accessing any resources by deactivating it on enter ID, right? I'll keep it simply unchecked and go to the next one. And here's the option for us, either we wanted policy keep it active or disabled, right? So we can keep it disabled and we can enable or keep this option checked so that we can disable that policy access, right? And disable that application or this policy basically, and click next. So here we have a review policy option. This is a summary of the application or the policy. And once we are good here upon reviewing everything, right, we should be good to go ahead and submit this one, right? So once it is submitted, this is going to create the policy for us and it will show up over here. This one, you can see it is disabled now, it is medium, and you can see the application or the whole policy details, right? It is user defined policy created by this user on last modified today's date. So all of that stuff, right? So these are the default policies. There are many default policies which are created by Microsoft majorly, right? And similarly, we can also create the one, right? The next one is secure app permissions, right? So I'll just copy this name so it's easy for us to identify and see what we are doing, right? So once you click on that, you will see the same templates over here, but under template, it is going to target and scope for permissions, right? So there are 3 templates: over privileged applications, new app with non-graph API permissions, and new highly privileged applications, right? So let's select that one, click next. So I think we can give it the same name and we can set the severity over here or set it to high because it's a highly one, right? And then click next. And if you wanted to keep it the same or default one, it's going to keep it as is. But if you wanted to change, you would be able to change it. We saw that in the another previous policy, but for now I'll just keep it to default one. Click next, set it to unchecked or disable it for now. And I'll disable the policy for now because we don't want it to do any impact as of yet, but still. And even if we set it to active, we will be able to see and it's going to notify that and do the respective change, right? So at the end, you would see all the summary and everything about the policy. And once we are good, we just need to just submit that one. So once it is submitted, policy is ready. That's going to create a policy for the tenant and that is going to land over here and show us. All right, you can see that this policy is created with active and the severity and the details about it, right? Now, there is one more button which is create new policy. So once you do that, it is going to simply select and make sure it is going to give us the customized way of creating policy, right? So this is the option where we would simply go ahead and select the custom templates. So custom template 1, and I'll just give it a name, something like this one, secure app protection or app permissions. And I wanted to set it to medium level. And next, here you would see we don't have the default settings to select. So it's going to give us an opportunity to select the customized policy templates, right? And now you can define whether it is all apps or specific or any specific or all apps except 1 or 2 that you wanted to exclude from, right? And then add conditions. So here you would see, let's say API access, where we have apps that have made over specified number of graph API calls in a day. Maybe we wanted to limit it to just 10, right? Similarly, you can go back access trends, where API calls have increased by percentage to the previous day, maybe 5%, and services accessed. So you can do that, right? So you can mention apps that have accessed OneDrive, SharePoint, Exchange, your Graph API, right? So that way you wanted to see which service was accessed. So let's say I'll set it to any for now, and probably you can also do other as well. Let's say priority account consent given, right? So whether it was a priority account consent which had governed or which has given the consents to this or any of those applications basically, right? So we wanted to see and get it notified, right? So these are the conditions that we have put in together, right? Click next, and for now we can prevent app from accessing any resources by deactivating it on enter ID. So for now I'm going to keep it as is. Click next. I'll disable the policy, right? Because we don't want it to do it, but when you are ready to do it in the production ready organization, that means you need to do all of these steps thoroughly, test it in a way where you would understand what would be the impact of each, right? And if you do any of those changes, right, then you would need to also know and understand how it is going to how it is going to be working and making any changes, right? So once you are good there, you should be ready to just review all the steps you have taken. And once you know and understand everything is set correctly, just hit that submit button. The policy should be ready. All right, so policy is created, and you'd see that over here after refresh. So this is the policy you can see, and which is disabled one. Right, so even if you wanted to see that policy later, you can simply click on it and you would see the policy summary over here, then scope and conditions, what is the scope and conditions, and then alerts. So currently there are 0 alerts, you can see, because the policy is in disabled state and it is not yet monitoring, or it is not yet created, or it does not have any alerts created so far, right? That's why it is just showing 0 alerts and all alerts, right? And even you can delete it, you can duplicate it, and if you want to delete or edit, you can simply click on that edit button and you will be able to delete the whole policy from the beginning, right? So yep, that way it is going to be allowing you to make the appropriate changes, configurations in the policy, and create all these kind of policies, right? So basically, all of these are the governing policies that we can figure out and create policies for the tenant and make sure we wanted to govern the applications, API calls, API permissions, and whole lot of conditions, right? So I'll make more videos on these different topics, right, to cover up, because it's not easy to add all the policies or different conditions and scopes in one video, because that's going to become a very large and longer video and may not be good to just go ahead and do it, right? So yeah, that's all I wanted to show you, and make sure you will learn it and understand it, right? Let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, anything that you wanted to know about this one, and I'll be happy to collaborate and answer any questions if you have, right? So yeah, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, people around you, and subscribe to the channel as well, so that you get to see every new video whenever it is uploaded and available on channel. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.